Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Tommy Lynch, the millionaire from North Carolina. Wow, it's been so long since I did a live feed, but or rather a YouTube video. But this stream was prompted by a gentleman that I was talking to earlier about just business really in general, not necessarily about carrot bars, but just about business in general. And the gentleman said, once I told him a little bit about it, his reply was, "Man, that networking stuff, I can't do it." And then I asked him, "So what is it about networking that you don't like?" Then he goes, "Well, it's kind of like a pyramid." And I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Networking and a pyramid are two different things." Even though I do understand why he meshed them together, but I had to go back to the networking part to ask him, what he meant by network. He says, "Well, I don't like to talk. I don't like to talk to people and tell people about something, that I'm doing. I just rather, keep it to myself." I said, "Okay, that's fair enough." But I had to make an example of him real quick. I asked him this. So when you go to see a movie, or and you go and see you go see a movie, or you go to a nice restaurant. You name the movie, you name the restaurant. A great vacation destination, or you buy a nice car, or you get a new ring, or you buy a new watch, just whatever. When you after that experience, whatever that experience is, we'll just say a movie. We say you went to go see the new Transylvania 2. Maybe you took your kids to see it, and as soon as you as soon as you got through with seeing that movie, then more than likely you told somebody about it. You told another parent that, hey, go see that Transylvania 2 movie because little Johnny, he really loved it. Little Sally loved it too. And I'm sure little Johnny and little Sally went and told their friends that, hey, I went to go see Transylvania 2 over the weekend. It was a great movie. Well, you just networked. It's called referral networking, but we all have a network in place, whether you realize it or not. We all have a network of family and friends, maybe even enemies, but we all have a network of family and friends that we continually talk to about different things in our lives that we've done or about to do or that we want to do. I remember the first time I went to the Bahamas to get married over 20 years ago. The first thing that was my first time being there. So the first thing that I did was I went and told somebody about it. I just networked. Now, did they pay me any money for that? No, they didn't pay me a dime. I didn't see any income, any residual income, any upfront income. I didn't see any commission come from telling them about me going to the Bahamas. And trust me, we spent a lot of money. It was over 25, 30 of us in the wedding party. We were there for 8 days or 8 nights. So what am I saying here? So I told the gentleman that networking is just simply telling somebody about what you did. Networking is simply telling somebody that you did thus and so, and if you want to go, this is what you got to do to get there. Okay, so so I drove it back. So I turned it back around on him on the business to make him see that networking is simply you becoming a part of an organization. In this case, you becoming a part of an organization, and then you tell somebody about the good luck or the good fortune that you're having within that company, and then hopefully they go out and do the same thing. Okay. Now, unlike a job, is he mentioned pyramid, and that he had to touch on the pyramid thing too. And then I told him, I said, every job that you've worked in is a pyramid. There's a CEO, there's a CFO, and as it comes down, the CEO is the very top, and then you got the CFOs, and you got all those other O's down there, and they all branch out. And at the very bottom, you have more than likely upper and lower management, and then the employees. Now, what are the chances that the employees, or even upper management, lower upper management, what are the chances that those people will make it all the way up to be a CEO? Slim to none. Every now and then you hear about somebody that started out in a company as a bag boy or a driver, and now they're the CEO of the company. But man, think about how long it took them to get there. I mean, I can't think of any company off the top of my head, but I have heard of people starting out on the bottom and then work their way up. But I mean, when they start at the bottom, they're maybe 18, 19, 20 years old, and they're 60, and they're just not getting to the CEO. I mean, who wants to work the whole life away in a company just to retire on 40% of what you couldn't make it on 100% in the first place? But that's another seminar. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into that. All I'm saying is that, and I try to convince. Now, I'm not in the convincing business, but I want to convince this gentleman or enlighten him on the fact that in a network marketing business, in a network marketing business or a networking business or referral business, you're the boss. So that means that when you start, you're at the top. Okay. When you bring in somebody, you tell somebody about this opportunity, and then they join, they're at the top. Okay. And when they tell somebody about this opportunity and they join, then they're at the top. The point being is that we are all at the top of our own organization. We're all at the top of our own organization. Of course, there's always somebody that recruited you, but when you come in, you start here and you begin to build. You begin to build. There are no pyramids, nothing like that. It's not multi-level marketing, because in multi-level marketing, it's set up different. In multi-level marketing, you bring in somebody and you get at one level, you bring in somebody, they come in on another level, and then the levels move up as you accomplish certain things. But in network marketing, when there are no levels, and even at least in Care Bars, you can come in at any level you want to, and there are no levels, but you can decide the amount of money that you want to make. You can decide how long you want to work. You can decide where you want to work. It gives you time and location freedom, and allows you to be able to do what you want to do. So, in short, this gentleman still never did do anything, because I tend to resist being in the convincing business, because I know that when you convince somebody to do something and they actually do it, you actually end up having to continue to convince them to continue to do it. Okay, if I've got to convince somebody to get on a power call Monday through Saturday, and then that means I got to call them every day. Hey man, you on a power call? Great. Or I got to call them, get them on the line, and then dial the power call to get them plugged in. I got to call them every Sunday to get them on a train. Then I got to call them every Monday to get them on the beginner's train. Then I got to call them when there's a launch party. So I don't want to convince somebody to do anything. But this gentleman, I wanted to tell him about this because I believe that he had a skewed idea of what it was that I do. And I felt that it was my responsibility to tell him. So now, with that being said, this is Tommy Lynch, the millionaire from North Carolina. I just wanted to share that with you. As I was speaking with a gentleman, I wanted to share that with you. But I'll see you on the next stream. It's Tommy Lynch, the millionaire from North Carolina. Bye-bye. And thank you guys for joining me.